Beatrice J.D. Agba, MNI, Solicitor General of the Federation, and Minister of Justice. I'm Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Justice. Sorry, sir.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman and the honorable members. My name is Matthew Dada, Director of Finance and Account, Federal Ministry of Justice. Thank you.
So the Auditor General will read out the query, but before then, you have to either take the oath or be on affirmation. We have the two holy books with us here, the Quran and the Bible, or you can choose to do so by affirmation. Whichever one you do, you're a learned gentleman. You know that they all have the same implication in the eye of the law. So you can take the affirmation and then sign the signature column together with your Director of Finance. Thank you.
I, Beatrice J.D. Agba, do solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give before the committee and all the documents that I will present before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
In 2019, the ministry has 3 issues. Number 1, misapplication of capital funds, 35,776,700 naira. Paragraph 316, subsection 3 and 4 of the financial regulation states, and I quote, "Variement from one head of account in the recurrent expenditure estimate to another account in capital shall be collated by the Minister of Finance and submitted to National Assembly."
Oh, no, what are you reading? Head of account shall not be allowed.
I say shall not be allowed and vice versa. All application for, okay, let me start all over, sir. Issue number 1, misapplication of capital development funds. Paragraph 316, subsection 3 and 4 of the financial regulation state. Variement from one head of account in the recurrent expenditure estimate to another head of account in capital expenditure estimate shall not be allowed, and vice versa. All application for variement shall be collated by the Minister of Finance and submitted to National Assembly for approval before variement warrant shall be issued. Audit observe 1, that 12 payment vouchers totaling 35,776,700 naira were made in December 2019 to officers of the ministry from the capital vote. 2, the above payments were for air tickets, boot camp registration, services of monthly meetings, workshop fees, and conferences. 3, 1 out of the 12 vouchers with number cap/014/19 dated 24th April 2019 amounting to 30 million was raised as cash advance to an officer of the ministry. Number 4, the retirement particulars of the cash advance of 30 million revealed the conference was a virtual meeting, even in 2019 financial year. 5, the officers that attended the program were from South states and from different agencies and commands. Their office should have catered for their logistics and other benefits instead of the ministry. 6, the receipt for retirement from hotels were altered at the date column, such as the Le Meridian Hotel and Golf Resort in Uyo, 30,240,000. Ogbo Leasing Transport Company, Nigeria Limited, for carrying, amounting to 160,000 with no destinations, and MC Print Ventures for 60,000, which raised doubt as to the authenticity of the retirement particulars. 7, the sum of 11,960,000 was paid to 184 officers from the South State Commands, and the different computations for accommodation subsidy, 150,000 per night for 3 nights each.
15,000, 15. Sam. That's 15, not 150. 15,000 per night. Not you read out 150. It's 15,000 here.
Okay, let me this is item 7.
Don't waste our time. Just correct what you said about that subsidy, i.e. Is it 150,000 you have on your own document?
15,000 per night for 3
you
nights
150
each. Sorry. Which contravene extant rules on DTAs of public officers in the civil service. And 8, the above payments were made as if all the officers are on the same grade levels to collect same amounts in terms of distance and DTAs. The response from the ministry: all expenditure incurred were captured in the 2019 capital appropriation bill of the ministry, and they were duly approved as contained in the Appropriation Act for the year under consideration. And the office recommended: 1, that they should furnish reasons for allowances for conferences that was held virtually and payment to officers to another agencies. 2, that this will account for 35,776,700 naira transfer from capital vote to finance overhead expenditure. 3, that this will recover the sum of 30 million paid as cash advance as the retirement documents were flawed with irregularities. And 4, otherwise sanctions relating to financial regulation 3106 on irregular payments should be applied. Thank you, sir.
Let's take 1 and 2. So let's take 2 and then we'll take the response. You have how many issues do they have?
3 issues, sir.
3?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's take issue 2 so that we'll take 1 and 2 together.
Issue 2, without supporting document, 53,797,299 naira 50 kobo. Paragraph 603, subsection 1 of the Financial Regulation states, and I quote, all vouchers are contain full particulars of each service, such as dates, numbers, quantities, distances, and rates, so as to enable them to be checked without reference to any other document, and will invariably be supported by relevant documents such as local purchase orders, invoices, special letters of authority, time sheet, etc. Audit observe: 1, 9 payment vouchers amounting to 53,797,299 naira 50 kobo for works and procurement were raised in 2019 and paid to contractors. And 2, relevant supporting documents such as approvals, invoices/receipts, letters of store receipt voucher (SRV) and store issue voucher (SIV) project files were not presented for examinations. And the ministry responded thus: at that period of award and execution, the ministry was under siege of possible attack by the protesters, while there was an urgent need for an award and execution of those contracts in order to salvage lives and properties in public interest. We are not aware of the fact that those contracts were supposed to go through procurement planning committee.
We are not aware, okay?
We are not aware. We are not unaware, sorry sir, of the fact that those contracts were supposed to go through the procurement planning committee in compliance with the due process procedure. And the office now recommended that they should provide reason why items procured did not have supporting document as required by extant regulation. 2, that they should account for 53,797,299 naira 50 kobo used to procure items without relevant supporting document. 3, to recover and remit the same sum to the treasury. And 4, they should forward evidence of remittance to this committee. And last but not the least, otherwise apply sanction relating to irregular payment specified in paragraph 3106 of the financial regulations.
Honorable members, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present our own clarifications to.
Can you draw that microphone closer so that we can hear you?
Okay, I was just expressing appreciation.
And you can raise it a little bit. It's like,
okay.
All right.
I was just expressing appreciation to the committee for the opportunity given to clarify some of the allegations made against ministry.
You're welcome, madam.
Sir, on issue number 1, I'd like to state that from our records, there is no indication of misapplication of funds. I believe this may have risen as a result of lack of understanding on the relevant vote of charge for the project. Now, the ministry has, under ERGP 30102718, expenditure head research and development. And the ministry uses this to conduct programs. And as you may well be aware, Mr. Chairman, sir, the ministry does not carry out construction in the way that other project ministries do. So some of our activities are listed as capital. So the particular activity for which this expenditure was incurred was from the research and development as subhead of our capital expenditure. So the issue of environment does not arise, with all due respect. Now,
all right, no, just a moment, please. Let's take them one after the other. 2019 Appropriation Act.
Yes, yes, I do have.
And you said it is captured as research and development.
Yes.
All right. And what the money was used for is for training purposes?
Well, it's so what we do is a lot of engagement, and this is part of efforts to implement the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, and part of the expectations of the ministry's engagement. So we engage with relevant security and law enforcement agencies across the country on certain aspects of that act. So
right.
yes, sir. Yes.
All right. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's just take note of that. We'll rule on that defense later.
Yes.
But let's go to the other issues in that same query.
Okay, sir. So on issue number 2, we would just like to state that the expenditures were appropriately incurred and duly approved as intangible capital items as provided in the 2019 Capital Appropriation Act. And then also that the advance for which 30 million, that's the advance of 30 million, was actually utilized for the purpose for which it was granted, and it was retired accordingly. You will note, Honorable Chairman, sir, that what the ministry was doing was to engage with various stakeholders. Now, when we do that, we are responsible for their tickets and transportation to venue, as well as payment for all fees and due to resource persons.
Yeah,
so this money was paid to like
I'm sorry, please. The claim of the auditor, I'm coming, madam.
Yes.
The claim of the auditor was that this was a virtual program. Is that correct?
No, Mr. Chairman. You note that there was no shutdown in government in the year 2019. That only happened in 2020, sir. And you know that we're not that sophisticated in 2019 to conduct virtual proceedings, please.
Auditor, your item 4 says retirement particulars of the cash advance revealed that the conference was a virtual meeting. What document are you referring to here? Retirement particulars of the cash advance that revealed that it was a virtual meeting. What document is that?
It has to do with the, you know, when a fund is given to an organization, it's not yet an expenditure until the retirement is done.
Yes.
And the particulars of retirement shows particulars of virtual related expenditure to support the claim.
The retirement provided by the office.
By the office.
Do you have copies of such?
We bring the copies, sir.
Okay, please take note of that and
Okay,
then provide us with copies of the document that show that it was virtual. They are saying it's not virtual, it was physical. So we need those documents